The 2025 NFL Draft is stacked with talent at the running back position. One of the top running backs this year is Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State, previously from Ole Miss. He's looking to put the stamp on things in the 2025 NFL Draft. He's going to get drafted pretty high, and we're going to be looking at his prospect profile today from high school to now. But before we begin, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're doing videos like this on as many prospects as possible, getting you ready for the 2025 NFL Draft, getting you ready for your Dynasty rookie drafts, covering these player values. Click that button, stop missing out. But we're starting with the high school recruiting days of Quinshon Judkins. And he was an afterthought on the recruiting scene by these recruiting services. He was a 3-star prospect, ranked as the 53rd running back in the class. 562 overall per 24/7 Sports composite. Listed at 5'11", 200 pounds, so we had some size. The market, though, was actually kind of hot for him when it comes to college football. He had 26 offers. Big-time programs were after him. Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida. That being said, I look at this and I see you should easily put like a 4-star on him because the market was so hot. So the recruiting sites whiffed on him huge, and the college football market was hot on him. And 24/7 Sports did not have a scouting report on Quinshon Judkins. They did not go that far. But if I was doing one-for-one analysis, going down the rankings like I've been now these last couple years, back in 2022, he would have had a good scouting report for me from what I see from the huddle highlights, what I see from him back in that day, what I'm seeing from this. I think he was a good prospect off the rip because lacking a scouting report is very deeming from a recruiting service. But going to Ole Miss, we have Zach Evans there, a big-time collegiate prospect that was very promising, everybody liked. We thought he was going to be the guy. Quinshon Judkins just takes his lunch, and he goes off. We have two 200-yard games against Arkansas and Texas A&M. Not against dub schools or anything like that. We go off. Against Tulsa, we go off. Against Auburn, we go off. 135, he hung on Alabama. We hung 111 on LSU. 106 on Kentucky. Central Arkansas got it. And we just blew up all season long. 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns. We are productive against good collegiate programs that were better than Ole Miss. He was able to make it happen. This is a very good running back prospect who can find the lane, get yards after contact, and is a guy that can churn it out. We come in 2023 sophomore season with Ole Miss, and we do it again. LSU got it with 177 yards. Auburn got hit with 124. Mississippi State 119, Penn State 106, TMU 102. Just rolling through the SEC. 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns on the season, caught 22 balls for 149 yards. Just productive, workhorse back. And at this time, he was considered like the top running back in the nation. He was considered the guy that when they made college football 25, one of the premier players in the game. At this moment. So go back to this moment too and add that to your prospect profile when you're grading him as a draft prospect, because when we get to Ohio State here in 2024, we're sharing the backfield. And the thing is, they created this backfield as a timeshare because this was a team built to make a run for the national title. Ohio State had a lot of guys that could have went into the 2024 NFL Draft, but didn't. They wanted to come back for another season. And they brought in Quinshon Judkins. And he's sharing the backfield with Trevion Henderson. We had some big moments. Western Michigan 108, Marshall 174. Notre Dame, we rushed for 100 yards on 11 carries. We road dogged Penn State. Oregon, 85 yards. That being said, we're sharing the backfield. The rushing attempts per game, 15 or less pretty much. 15 or less, around 10 to 15 rushing attempts per game, with 17 being on the high. 194 carries on the season on 16 games. So we're not getting a heavy workload, but we already proved ourselves in the first 2 seasons. So why not have a little extra tread on the tires as we go into the NFL? That's what I'm seeing from these numbers. 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, sharing the backfield, catching 22 balls for 161 yards, still being used in the passing game. On his career, 3,700 yards, 45 touchdowns, catching almost 60 balls for 5 touchdowns on his career. So he's used in the passing game. He's not a liability. He's not really a liability anywhere. He's a very stout, solid running back prospect. Yards after contact per attempt were over 3 throughout his career. 3.04 at Ohio State, 3.38 as a freshman at Ole Miss, 42 carries that year of 10 plus yards or more, 28 at Ohio State in a timeshare. And that's over 20% of his carries going for 10 plus yards or more. That's what that says, because we're barely over 100 carries there. 929 yards after contact as a freshman. We're looking at a prospect here that's underrated. Look at the missed tackles forced here at Ole Miss. 78 as a sophomore, 76 as a freshman. In tighter lanes in the SEC, being the underdog in most of those games, and we're still churning out yards. Those numbers are saying, hey, we got a good workhorse running back here that can get you yards, that can force missed tackles, either run through your face with a stiff arm or a nasty dead leg. And we're seeing that on the field, and we're getting a good share of the carries at Ole Miss, sophomore season, at 50% share. And it was almost dead nuts at Ohio State last year. 36% to 35% when it comes to a carry share out of the backfield. The share of the rushing yards, he had a 50% share of the yards out of the backfield at Ole Miss his sophomore season, 46% as a freshman, 40% while sharing the backfield with Henderson, which is a good amount of work. All this says is he can be a workhorse running back. Get some touches out of the backfield, get some receptions, get a lot of work, carry the load, get it between the tackles. And when we're looking at him in the receiving game, yards after the catch per reception, 7.6 with Ohio State, 5.5 his final year at Ole Miss, and 9.5 during his freshman season. We do have some juice. We can make some guys miss. This also says and is a testament that he's not overly electric. His ADOT is above 0, so we are running some routes downfield, because usually if it's all passes behind the line of scrimmage, it's going to be 0 or negative. Like it you see down there as his freshman season, we are getting some targets downfield. That's a good thing to see. But yards after the catch, we're all right. We're all right. We're not great, but we're all right. But when you're looking at the targets, volume-wise, at Ole Miss, that sophomore season was the best year when it comes to target share at 7%, with 26 targets during his sophomore season, but 26 at Ohio State. We're getting okay workload. Okay workload volumes. His best target share was during his sophomore season at 7%. At Ohio State, he had 6%, which was very comparable to Henderson. Workload-wise, counting stat-wise, he's okay. Yards after the catch per reception, he's okay. Nothing stand out, but he's a banger back that can get you yards after the catch per reception with physicality, that nasty stiff arm, that quick dead leg. That's what you're getting out of him. He is a running back that you can count on all phases. He's good between the tackles. He'll find a lane. He'll grind it out. He's tough to bring down. He's very elusive. He's got quick feet, and he'll make you miss or run through your face. That's what you're getting. I think if you're looking for a down quality on him, a weakness, I think he's not overly twitched up. He's not going to be the fastest running back in the class. That is something you don't have to have for a running back, so I don't really focus on that. But if you're looking for something, like if you're looking for a negative trait, that is it. But he's good at all phases. He's got excellent vision, a good approach to the line of scrimmage. He's got a nasty stiff arm. He runs the play appropriately. He has proven himself everywhere he's been at. And I think considering he's been splitting the workload at Ohio State, I think that's confusing a lot of folks to how good Quinshon Judkins can be. You go back to that freshman and sophomore season, you go back watching those games, and go remember how college football was like back then, because everybody was talking up Judkins. Nobody was down on him. He was one of the main players on College Football 25 that people wanted to play with. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at the market for the mock drafts. On average, he's an early third round, late second round. He's drafting the first round sometimes, 15.9% of the time. He's going to get good draft capital because he's a stout running back prospect. He's a stout prospect that's going to drive it home between the tackles, that can get you more than what's blocked, has good vision. He's going to be a workhorse grinder. who has the ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, down in the flat, can run some routes downfield, but not over electric with that when it comes to breaking them off, but he can get the job done. So we're looking at lunch pail running backs in the National Football League. One guy, if you want to make a comparison, early day Kareem Hunt's. A running back like that has a nose to find the hole in the running lane, a guy that can run through contact, a guy that can handle the full workload, a guy like that. Another player, I think he's a little different. It has been mentioned in my comment section, and I've thought of him too. Tyron Williams, lunch pail running back, good at finding the hole, will run through you, run around you, doesn't need to lead the field. You look at him, and a lot of people watch his tape, and they're like, how is he so good? And then all of a sudden, turning out yards, being reliable, being dependable. You're getting a very dependable running back. I think in terms of dependability, lunch pail running back terms, he compares to these running backs. I think he's a little bit different. That stiff arm and ability to break off after contact, hold balance after contact, and keep moving is different compared to a lot of running backs in this class. That sets him apart from a lot of running backs. When I look at him in terms of Dynasty rookie mock drafts, he's up there. He should be easy a first-round pick. You should be salivating to get him. He's going to be a discount running back that's going to be getting you good production. And when I mean discount running back, a lot of years he's a 101 player. A lot of years he's a 101 player. And he's in a stout running back class where you're overlooking that aspect. You look at what he did at Ole Miss. He shared the backfield at Ohio State, which is kind of alarming to some folks if you just look at the counting stats. If you're just into him this year, usually he's a 101 player, 102 on the low. He's a player you're excited to draft, but you're going to catch him at a little bit of a discount this year, and he's a player that has the potential to be a workhorse running back for his team, to be getting all the touches. If we go into a landing spot where they need a running back bad, and they need a running back in the worst way, they don't have a second one on the roster, you're going to see Judkins hit. You're going to see him get a lot of work at least. They may not have the pieces that really boost him up yet, but you're going to see him hit in volume. But you're looking at a running back here, even if he's trying to work, he's going to get the money touches. He's a good running back. There are not many running backs in the league that are better than him. There are some teams that are struggling at the running back position that could wait till the second round, pick him up, and they're good to go for the next 5 years at the running back spot. And he can catch the ball in the backfield, grind it between tackles, do everything you need. Those teams who are needing a full workhorse or a running back that gets most of the carries in the committee are going to be interested in Judkins, because you can keep him on the field, he can get you whatever you need, and then you bring in your spell running back who is more of a pass-catching running back. Let him do the work in the receiving game if needed, but you're using him to do the dirty work. He can catch the ball in the backfield, he can pass protect, he can do it all. I like Quinshon Judkins. I'm up there in my rankings pretty high. That's coming out in a day or so. More rankings at the running back position for this draft class. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.